because we as a city, we as a police department are trying to grow our neighborhood watch programs. We have learned over time through the Vecinos Unidos project, where a community literally took its neighborhood back, and we saw a dramatic decrease in crime. Please listen to what Miguel and Crystal will present to you. Please ask questions. And then last but not least, if you would please let others know about what we're doing and about what you want here to make a great difference in our city. I'm very confident that we can make a difference and change that trend that's going this way to this way so that we all feel safe in our community. So have a great night.
So, we decided to, be creative, and we called it ONUP, the Oxnard Neighbors United Project, Vecinos Unidos, And so it's our goal to work with residents. We've identified this as a priority, not only for us as a department, but quite frankly for our community. So for those people that you may come across that weren't able to join us tonight, or who you think could benefit from this, please have them contact Detective Crystal Walker or myself at the Oxnard Police Department. We will be more than happy to go wherever they are at their neighborhood. If they're able to secure a location, we will confirm in our calendar and we will go there. Earlier this week, or actually for the past 2 weeks, we've been doing these types of presentations in smaller groups. People have opened their doors, and we've been doing them to smaller groups of 5 to 10 people in their living room, and that's really what we're going to try and do this year. We know that we can't do it alone, but together, I know that we can make a bigger difference and have a more profound impact. So without further ado, all that being said, I want to turn over the floor to my partner, Detective Crystal Walker, who's a crime prevention detective with Oxnard Police Department, for her next presentation. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you.
So thank you for being here tonight. I'm looking out here and I'm like, oh my goodness, people want to hear me speak. So thank you so much, and I hope that by the end of tonight you guys will be educated at least enough to where you go back and you're not thinking, well, how do I do this and who do I contact and how is this supposed to work? Well, you know what, we're here to tell you about that tonight. So without further ado, we're going to go on. But I will say this. If you have any questions, ask questions as we go along, okay? I don't mind being interrupted, because there's some people that probably want to ask the same question, but they might be a little bit embarrassed to ask it. So just go ahead and do that. And if I remember stuff, I might come back and forth, and if I talk too fast, which I think I'm doing right now, that's just the way I talk. Just ask me to slow down or repeat something, okay? So here we go. So, of course, there's myself, there's Community Affairs Manager Miguel Lopez, but these are all the beat coordinators in different beats. If you don't know what your beat is, you can always ask us at the end of the presentation. But basically from 11 through 14, that's the north end. We have 21, 22, 23, and 24, that's kind of the middle of the city. 31 and 32, that's the east side of the city. And 41 and 42, that's everything below Channel Islands. Okay, so if you have any questions still, by all means, let us know. But those are the numbers that you can contact them at. But 385-7600 is the general number. You can always call that and ask for their voicemail. So what's the benefit of a neighborhood watch? Well, it unites the neighborhood, okay? How many of you know your neighbors to the sides and to the front? Very good. Usually people are like, here's the thing, you have to. In this age of social media, with everybody tweeting, everybody doing the Facebook and everything, we don't know who our neighbors are. Why would you think that I want you to know who your neighbors are? Venture a guess? Cars. Exactly. You know best who's in your neighborhood and who should be there and who shouldn't. Okay? So in that you can say, hey, that person's not supposed to be over there by that house. I think I'm going to call the police on that one because he's looking kind of shady. And I'm not saying he to bash on the guys. I'm just saying because it's just easier. Okay? But it can be just as much women as men that are doing the dirty business. So reduces fear of crime in a community. I'm going to tell you this right now. There are certain areas of the city where people do have a fear of crime, and they say, oh my goodness, I'm never going there. But in those parts of the city, sometimes those stats are actually lower than some of the more affluent parts of the city. It's kind of weird. But sometimes the parts of the city earn that particular reputation, but it's not so anymore, or not as much anymore. So what do we want to do in your neighborhood? If there's a fear of crime, we want to make sure that people understand, you know what? It's not like that. Okay? We want to get the real statistics out there and the real skinny on what's going on. So you guys are not sitting there going, I'm not going to go outside. Oh, it's dangerous out there. No. We want you to get outside. We want you to enjoy our neighborhood. We want you to take it back and take charge, because guess what? You pay a lot of money for that house, don't you? And the insurance, and the water, and the gas, and all of that. Why are you going to let somebody else who's acting a fool make you stay inside. No, 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 we're not gonna do that. So, improved crime reporting by citizens, we'll talk about that a little bit more. I'm gonna show you how to report crime and basically what we're gonna ask of you when you call. Prevents and reduces crime, of course it does, and enhances homeland security. And we all know in this day and age of terrorism, we have to keep our eyes open, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So tips, all right, I'm gonna use the Z word, Zimmerman. We don't want another Zimmerman. I'm not saying anybody was right or anybody was wrong, I'm just saying there was some stuff done that was wrong and some stuff that was done right. But nobody wants that particular attention on their neighborhood or themselves, okay? Because whether or not he was right or wrong, that man's probably not gonna get another job because everybody knows who he is. And no matter what came out of the investigation, people are gonna say, guess what, look what you did, okay? We don't want that. So these are a few little rules that, pretty hard and fast, okay? Stick to them and we should be pretty good. Alcohol, all right? We don't drink it on duty as police officers. If you're on duty as watch patrol or neighborhood watch, we don't want you drinking alcohol either. Yes, sir?
Since you brought up the Zimmerman thing, we don't have a stand your ground law here in California.
We'll talk about the Castle Doctrine a little bit later, okay?
So what doctrine?
The Castle Doctrine, it's an actual penal code, and it'll explain a little bit more. Stand your ground, like actually like somebody's coming at you type thing, you can defend yourself within reason, okay? But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, real quick, Zimmerman was actually a member of Neighborhood Watch, and Trayvon Martin was a black teenager that was crossing through, I believe it was a mobile home park. And he called it in, he was armed, Zimmerman was armed, and he got into an altercation, and he ended up shooting Trayvon Martin and killing him. Now, again, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you any of my opinion or anything, you should probably look it up to see all the facts for yourself, but the fact is that it caused a lot of racial tension. Now, unfortunately, people were like, oh, it was a white guy that shot a black man, but that wasn't true. Zimmerman was actually Latino. Okay, he was Hispanic. And
3 out of 4 of those he was do not carry
he should, you're right, he should not have been carrying a weapon, okay? But the thing is that if you have a concealed weapons license, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, no, you absolutely cannot carry a weapon, okay? Because you've obviously been trained and you've been approved to carry that. But I very, very highly suggest that you do not do that, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about weapons later. So we'll go on from that one. Again, don't carry weapons, don't follow the suspects, okay? That's our job. You guys are not trained, you also don't have all the equipment, you also don't have the uniform that denotes you as a police officer, okay? So even though you as citizens do tend to have a lot more leeway in what you can do than we as police officers, it's not advisable, don't do it. Just let us come and take care of it. Again, that's what we get paid for. We get paid for what we might have to do. Not what we do, but what we might have to do. And all of you, I don't have to explain to you what could happen when we arrive on scene. So, and don't attempt to detain the suspect, same thing. A lot of times we get calls of people like, oh, they're doing graffiti and I caught him over here, I caught him over there. You know what? Please don't do that. If you absolutely feel capable and in the human moment you do it, I'm not going to get angry at you, but I'm going to tell you, please don't do that again. Okay? We want you all to be safe. That's the main thing. We want you to be safe. Give us a call and let us come and take care of the problem. So, it helps build pride in your neighborhood, because if your neighborhood looks good, if your neighborhood feels good, everybody's out, they're walking their dogs or whatever, and everybody's saying hi to each other, it keeps that pride in there. You feel really, really happy about the area that you're in. And the better that people feel in that area, I'm telling you, those property values will probably go up, and you get more quality people in the area wanting to move there instead of wanting to move out. But like my partner said about broken windows, we all know about broken windows, or do we not know about broken windows? The theory. No? I'll tell you. That's what I'm here for. All right, broken windows. So you go to an area, you see a broken window, and what do you think?
Nobody getting repaired.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares, and nobody's going to fix it. So what's going to happen? Next day you're going to get some graffiti. Then you're going to get the rival gang graffiti over that. Then you're going to get more broken windows. You're going to get trash. You're going to be like, nobody cares about this place. I'm not coming over here anymore. Okay? We don't want that. But as soon as the graffiti comes up, or as soon as the window gets broken, and people fix it, they're going to be like, oh, they care over there. Criminals will be like, they obviously care, they're going to call. I probably shouldn't go over there. Okay? saying that, Neighborhood Watch or the police department, there's gonna be zero crime after we have this training and everything. No, that's not true. What we're hoping to do is reduce it as far as we can, as close as we can to zero. Okay? And with your guys' help, we can do this. We can do this. So, the organization. You're gonna have a block captain, basically the head of the Neighborhood Watch. Do we have any of those here aside from yourself? Anybody else? Okay. Can we get her a red folder? Oh, we already gave you one, okay. If you are the head, we're going to give you a folder that's got all the stuff to start up your Neighborhood Watch. The manual is going to have a bunch of flyers and stuff. And I can tell you, yes ma'am? You'd like one? Okay, if we could get one, please. And if the situation changes, if any of you want to become the heads of your Neighborhood Watches, contact us, we'll get you this manual. And it's got flyers in there that you can make copies of, or if you want them, I can send them to you digitally, make a PDF and send it to your email. You can make all the copies you want to, and you can give them out to the rest of your Neighborhood Watch members and make sure that they're informed. You can use the manual to further educate them. And the manual goes along with a lot of these slides. It's not the same order as the PowerPoint, but we explain pretty much all of the pages in it. So you have the block captain and you have the Neighborhood Watch member. The Neighborhood Watch member should report directly to the block captain, okay? Unless you're out there on patrol and you want to call the police department, okay, you don't have to go through your block captain to do that. All right, that just wastes time. We want you to call straight. But if you have something, an issue that's going on, go through your block captain. Because we don't want the Neighborhood Watch member talking to the beat coordinator and then the block captain talking to the coordinator, and he thinks that it might be a new problem, but really it's the same one that you guys are talking about. So it's like double duty. Okay? Just as the beat coordinator is going to talk to the block captain. All right? Now, the other time that he will talk to you, face-to-face would probably be as if he's coming out on one of your calls or in a training. But that's the way that the information should flow. Okay, so make sure everybody's on the same page and everybody's talking about the same issues. Okay? So, the organization, what are we doing? Involving law enforcement. Actually, this time we're involving you. We're calling you out and telling you to come over here. Come get this training. Come take back your neighborhood. Come learn how to do it. All right? The next thing is arrange a kickoff meeting. We actually had a meeting a couple days ago. We had it in somebody's living room. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. It was actually really nice, really cozy. And we talked to some people about Neighborhood Watch. We gave them the training. Okay? That was their kickoff meeting. They could have another. That's fine. But that's how you should do it. If you have an interested group of people, get that little kickoff meeting. And don't just say, it's just Neighborhood Watch. Say, you know what, we're all friends getting together to talk about it. We'll have Neighborhood Watch training, but after that, maybe we'll hang out. We'll watch a movie or something. We'll have popcorn. Make it fun, all right? Don't make it just, oh, we're going to do Neighborhood Watch. Okay, make it fun. Select your leaders. All right, make sure you have a responsible person, someone who's not going to, say, I'll be the leader this week, but I don't want to do it next week. Somebody who's going to be available. Somebody who, if you call them, they're going to answer the phone. Because if you got one of those people that you call them and they never answer, you email them, they never check their email, a lot of good it's going to do you. You're not going to get those updates. You're not going to get the information that you need. Then we're going to skip to assessing the neighborhood needs. Take a look around your neighborhood. Figure out, do you have lights that are out? Do you have trees that need to be cut back? Is there a particular area where you know that a bunch of people congregate and they're doing their dirty business, whether it's smoking marijuana or doing, adult things? You need to check out where those things are, and then you need to figure out how to address them. And if you can't figure it out yourself, that's what your beat coordinator's for. Talk to them, ask them, what are your ideas? How can we do something about this? Sometimes it's as easy as putting up a fence. Sometimes it's as easy as just turning on a light. Those little things, but sometimes more heads are better than one. That's why I have all my partners back there to help me out. I don't just, take this and make it up. I actually ask, from different perspectives. I'm a cop. I think like a cop. Sometimes I talk like a cop. But, I have my partner Miguel, and he brings me back down. He says, yeah, I don't know what you're saying. So, and he helps me fix it. So that's how we're able to do this together, okay, with a partnership. So, I told you guys already to learn your neighbors' names, inhabitants' vehicles, and be able to recognize them, okay? That's a big, 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 big thing. So that should be the first thing you do. This is like your first neighborhood watch meeting, okay? Let's hope that there's other ones in your neighborhoods. Now, properly identify your property. Now, this is a big thing to ask of you. I know it is, and there's a brochure back there, Operation Identification. Documenting your serial numbers, okay? If in the unfortunate event that somebody breaks into your house or your car and you don't have your serial numbers, it's very hard to get that property back to you. And guess what? How long do you think we keep it before we destroy it or it goes to auction? 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months. So let's say that laptop that somebody stole out of your car, you didn't have a serial number for, and we couldn't figure out that it's you. 2 to 3 months, it'll either be destroyed or go to auction, and somebody else is going to be using your laptop. Okay. Not very fun, because guess how much you paid for it? A lot. So let's not do that. Let's identify our property. You know, I'll tell you how to do it the easiest way. Turn it over, because usually these things have their serial numbers and everything. Turn it over. Take a picture of it. Send it to your email. Save it in a folder. Because guess what else? When you're on vacation, and God forbid, somebody breaks in your house while you're on vacation, and somebody calls you and says, hey, they stole some of your stuff, but we don't know what the serial numbers are, but I know you had a laptop here. You can go, oh, here it is, and send them the picture with the serial number, with all the identifying marks on it. Easy. And then if we are able to get it back for you, win-win, win-win. All right, keep doors and windows locked, as well as garages. And I'm going to tell you, you need to make sure that if you guys are going to be out doing your foot beat in the neighborhood, and you're telling people, hey, you need to lock your door, you left your purse in there, or whatever, you guys need to follow it too, okay? Because how's it going to look if somebody gets into your stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm with neighborhood watch. It's just like me. If somebody breaks into my stuff, they're going to be like, aren't you the crime prevention detective for the city? No. I can't say that, right? And sometimes, you know what? We make mistakes. I do. One time I left the windows down on my car because it was hot, and I forgot to put the ones in the back up, and then I came out the next morning, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Because even though you might not think that somebody would want to steal a baby diaper bag, they do. And they have. So, you know what? We need to be careful. And as you see right there, 62% of reported crime in Oxnard is larceny, which is theft related, which means somebody was leaving something in their car, somebody was leaving something unsecured. Please don't do that. I know it's going to be getting hot here pretty soon. Well, it's hot now, but it's going to be getting hotter. Don't leave your windows cracked. Don't leave your upstairs windows open or anything, because you know what? It has happened. People have gotten ladders and they've gotten up to the second floor and they've gotten into people's houses. Okay? So please don't do that, especially because you don't want to have to say, yes, I'm on neighborhood watch and they got my stuff. Okay, kind of embarrassing. And be a good witness, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that when we get to the how to report. So keep an eye on your neighbor's houses, of course, like we were saying. If somebody starts to get in and you don't recognize them, by all means give us a call. And I'm going to tell you right now, we want quality calls. If somebody's cat is up in a tree, and call the fire department. And I say that to be funny, but there are certain calls where actually, you know what, they could probably wait, or some of them are, But if you see, like I said, somebody get into somebody's house, jump in the fence or something, those are the calls we really want. Now, all of you here know what's suspicious and what's not. You know already. I don't have to teach you. You know, because you get that funny feeling and the hair stand up on the back of your neck, and you're like, there's something weird about that. Honey, look over there. If you're doing that, call the police department. Now, I'll tell you there's a difference between 911 and the regular line, and we'll go over that again. But basically, if there's somebody getting hurt, there's somebody going to be hurt, something with weapons, there's a car accident, a real bad car accident, okay, 911. Again, cat in the tree, regular number. Okay? I wish there was a different number for the fire department. We all have the same dispatch. Teach children respect for the law. Because the thing is that the sooner you get to them, the longer they're going to remember. My little 3-year-old daughter, well, she's going to be 3 years old. We handed her her iPhone and let her play some of her little apps. Wrong. Because she knows how to use that thing better than we do. I'll get to you in 1 second, sir. And she's not going to forget how to do that. She's just going to only learn more and more about it. So if you let them do some, the wrong type of behavior or commit the wrong type of behavior, they're going to keep going as they get older, especially if you're not going to correct them. Now, if it's not your kid, don't do it. Don't do it, because it's not like back in the old days when I was growing up, when my parents were like, they told our neighbors, if she does anything, kick her butt and then bring her home, because we're going to do it too. Okay? So obviously, don't lay your hands on anybody else's kids, but if you have the occasion to talk to their parents, let their parents know, hey, this is what's going on. And if their parents are not receptive, you could let us know, talk to your beat coordinator, maybe they could set something up, maybe the school resource officer can talk to them a little bit. But I'm talking about real bad behavior. I'm not talking about, like you tell them to stop making noise and they don't want to stop making noise. I'm talking about their graffitiing or they're smoking marijuana somewhere, that type of stuff, okay? So your question, sir?
The only thing I have, has things changed where 911, doesn't that go to highway patrol?
Yes
On the
and
cell
no.
phone?
Yes and no. On a cell phone, it goes to highway patrol and then it gets sent to
It
whatever
hasn't changed,
jurisdiction.
okay, I just want to make sure that.
So this is what you should do. If you know definitely you're in Oxnard and you're dialing from a cell phone, dial our regular number, the 7740 number, okay?
It's geo-based
And you'll
now.
see it. Huh?
It's geo-based now, so unless you're next to the freeway, you don't need to do that.
I can't hear you.
It's geo-based now, they know
Yeah.
you're lat long, so if you're in the city of Oxnard proper, you'll go to our dispatch. If you're on the freeway, you'll go to CHP.
Okay, there you go.
It's been upgraded and enhanced.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need to call 911 after a certain time? Otherwise, it's like getting through
I can-
after hours at some point?
I'll tell you this right now, sometimes we get busy, and sometimes it's hard for the call to get through. So just keep calling 911 if it is an emergency. If it's not an
Well, if
emergency,
it's just like suspicious activity or something, I'm not sure, I had that happen, I'm like, should I call 911?
well, what type of suspicious activity?
Kids, near a car.
Like casing?
Yeah, maybe.
I would call a
And it's like
regular
10 o'clock
number.
at night, or.
Yeah, I'd call the regular number unless they're like actively pulling on the handles and like maybe breaking the windows, then that would probably be a
So
911.
even at night, that all night long, that other number?
We are
works?
24/7.
Okay.
We are 24/7, and I'm sorry. But you gotta understand that sometimes there are a lot of calls, especially like on weekends. We get people who party, we get, drunk subject calls, we get, DUI calls type thing, and sometimes it, we get a bunch at one time. So the call volume could maybe keep you, on busy signal. So, okay? So, I hope that's okay. All right, it's your responsibility to report crime, be a good witness, and never to belong. We already talked about that. And yes, it is your responsibility to report crime, because you know what? We are not in your neighborhood 24/7. We'd like to be. We wish we had enough officers, we could put one on every street, every block, but it's not gonna happen that way. So you need to let us know. If you don't let us know, we have no clue what's going on, okay? So you need to call and you need to tell us, it's over here, it's over there, and again, we'll talk about how to report, I'm gonna tell you about suspect and vehicle descriptions and that type of thing. And you guys are gonna be like almost pseudo cops when you leave here. No badge, somebody asked me for a badge earlier, no badge. All right, and when you plan to leave for any length of time? I'm sorry, I don't get it. I can give you the little junior sticker.
We don't do badges.
That's funny. When you leave, do you actually tell anybody that you're going on vacation and hey, come watch my house? Very good. Do you stop the paper? Do you stop the mail? Very good, very good. Because we tell our neighbors, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you put the trash cans out and bring them back in for us real quick? And we'll do the same for them. Awesome way to work together, partnership, okay? Because you know that if something goes down, they're gonna have your back and you're gonna have theirs. Widen your net. Talk to more people. You don't have to trust everybody, but talk to more people. Get out there and let them know, hey, you know what? You might not want, when you go on vacation, you might not want to have the newspaper come in. You might not want to have your trash cans out front. You might not want to leave that car out there, because if you don't move it, people notice. People notice. So keep an eye out for each other and get involved. Again, there it is. Look out for one another. Look out for one another. Okay? No one else is going to do it for you but the people closest to you. Okay, you have to do it. Crime prevention strategies. We were talking about this already. I'm going to go ahead and pass this, but basically, secure your house. Don't leave stuff in your car. If you're able to put extra, lighting, do that. If you have signs for an alarm system, even if you don't have an alarm, it is a deterrent to put it out there. Okay. Also, if you have a beware of dog sign, I think my partner was talking about that the other day at one of our meetings. You don't have to have a dog to put the sign up, because how many people want to mess with a dog? I don't. Crime prevention through environmental design, we're going to kind of briefly go over this, but by natural surveillance is being able to see through, to see, like, one time I went to a call, and it was a burglary, and there was this building, and this whole side of it was like cement, and I'm like, how did they get into this place? What are they talking about? There was a burglary here. Well, as I got closer to the front door, they had these bushes about this tall, and they had windows all along the bottom. I couldn't see. I couldn't see. That's how they got in. They broke the windows down there, they got in, and they got out. So if you see a condition like that where you have the, bushes covering the front of like your porch especially, that's an enclosed area where somebody can do whatever they want to do, take their time to get into your house. All they have to do is break that little side window, put their hand in, open your lock, right? So if you have that, the more open you make everything, the more lighted, because what do criminals not want? Don't want to be seen, don't want to be heard, don't want to be recognized. All right? So that's what we need to do. We need to make it more difficult because they'll move on somewhere else. The more difficult we make it. We don't want the other person to get victimized. The thing is that we sure don't want to get victimized ourselves. And I almost said a bad word right now. And if I do, I apologize. I don't, when I'm presenting a presentation, I don't usually do that. But if it comes out, it's because I'm getting really passionate about this. Because I want you guys to be safe and I want you to learn. And I want you to take this back. And I want you to get all of your people in your neighborhood excited, okay? And I want them to get trained as well. So that we could, make our city the best city that we can. Because everybody knows Oxnard, we have a little bit of reputation, don't we? Okay? Even though a lot of times it's undeserved, because the majority of the people here are good. Okay? There are very few people that I meet that are bad, and those are the ones that I meet multiple times and I've taken them to jail. I don't recognize you guys except for some of you that have come to my presentations. I've never arrested any of you that I can. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to skip on the target hardening. Again, that's where you guys are taking all the crime prevention measures that you can. Again, the lighting. And I'm not just talking about your house. I'm talking about down the street when you walk around and you see those street lights. Make sure to get them replaced if the bulbs are out. Somebody used to break the light in front of our house. And we kept getting it replaced and getting it replaced. They keep doing it. So, now our street is pretty lit. And if your street needs lighting, contact your beat coordinator, and maybe it's possible that we could, have some extra lights installed. Because I know at one point when I was a beat coordinator, Edison actually came out and put a couple lights in some places that really needed it. Okay. If not, I'm sure there's a way we can figure it out. Maybe you just need to cut the trees back in your neighborhood. Because those things grow all the way around those lights, and it's like a lot of good it does to have those lights up there. Right? Okay. Flippy. Watch patrol, patrolling the neighborhood. We call it flippy because it doesn't sound as intimidating. Now, you don't have to go out and patrol your neighborhood. You don't have to walk out there if you don't feel comfortable. Or if you have, an infirmity, you busted your ankle, or let's say you can't be on your feet too long. All we're asking is if you look out your front window and you report what you see. Stuff will happen right in front of you, believe me. If I'm sitting in a police car and stuff has happened in front of me before, believe me, it can happen in front of your front window. And that's all we ask. And you can be anonymous as well. I mean, neighborhood watch member or not, you can be anonymous. You don't have to give your name, your number. You don't have to tell them where you live. Just say, hey, you know what, this is going on right here. I don't want to give my name and my number, but I need somebody to come out. You can always do that, especially if it's your neighbor, because you don't want your neighbor to find out, because you got to live next to them, right? So yeah, you can be anonymous. Always think of that. Shared duties. Okay, make sure that there are different people watching at different times, because if you have one person watching all the time, you get kind of tired of it, And then other people are going to be like, oh yeah, you know what, I watched for that half hour one time. No. You got to share the duties, because it's going to get old after a little while. And you got to take a break. You can't live this all the time. Police officers can't live this all the time. Even though people say that, we're officers 24/7, I'm going to tell you right now, there are times when I just have to shut it off. Okay? You can't do this all the time, because you're going to add a heightened sense of awareness, and it wears on you a lot. You get very stressed out. You're like, oh my God, I got to answer my phone. I got to do this. I got to do that. No. You got to disconnect and let somebody else take care of it. Everything will continue to go, and the world will spin regardless of whether or not you're watching. Okay? But if you're going to do it, have somebody help you and take that break. So how to observe? Here we go. So I know I've been harping on this. Know who and what belongs in your neighborhood at what house. Okay? Know that, and remember, and try to teach your other people that they need to know that as well. And be prepared. I'm not talking about be prepared that you have, all your water and your lunch and everything with you in case you get hungry or whatever. I'm talking about be prepared. If you do observe something and you need to report, do you have all the numbers that you need? Okay, do you have a flashlight if during your little foot beat it gets dark? Do you have a phone with you? Okay, do you have a way to report? Be observant when you walk out. And that's another thing. When you go out, it doesn't necessarily just you going out to walk around and look for stuff. It could be while you're out jogging or exercising, and it could be out there while you're just taking your dog for a walk. Okay? Anytime that you're out there, you could take a look and see what's going on. It's your neighborhood. It's yours. And keep an eye on the neighborhood when you're home, of course, I already told you that. And trust your judgment. Again, like I said, you guys know what's suspicious. Okay? You already know. You just have to hone that ability. Okay? And then decide whether or not it's enough to call the police department on it. And I don't have to go through the other ones. Observe crimes and suspicious activities as discreetly as possible. I'm pretty sure you're not going to go up to somebody and go, I see what you're doing, because that's kind of not cool, right? And then you could possibly get hurt, because whoever it is, again, what I tell you, they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard, and they don't want to be recognized. Okay? So you do that, and you put yourself in some harm's way, because who knows what that person, what their mentality is. Yes, ma'am?
About far as like doing something at night, I mean, I was all for that too. But the other night, 2 nights ago, right around the corner, we had a drive-by.
Okay.
So, you know, so now I would be a little hesitant to go and do something like that. You know, at night, I mean, we heard the pops. You know, he thought it was firecrackers. I'd never heard a gun before. And I thought, you know what, I think it's gunshots. The police did show up. But, you know, and then I got thinking, you know, what if somebody was out walking? I mean, 2 hours before that, there were kids out riding their bicycles in the dark.
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to make you go out at night if you don't feel comfortable. I'm not going to make you do anything that you don't want to, but a lot of times when those things happen, there are people that are targeted. It's not random.
That's what it was.
Well, I shouldn't say it's not random. It usually is not random. Okay? So, unless you're out there selling drugs or you're a gang member, a lot of times it's those types of people that are going to get that type of attention. Okay? But again, if you do not feel comfortable, don't do it. All right? I'm not going to make you go out there and do anything you don't want to. But those are the types of things that we need witnesses for. Because, again, if you were looking out your window and you happen to see the car go by and you were able to provide a description to that, we could probably have gotten on that and probably taken some people. I'm not trying to put it on you. I'm just
No, I
saying
know that.
that this is a scenario. We probably could have put some people in jail and gotten a gun off the street. So that's why I'm saying that we want you guys to look out, even out your window, even out your window.
Our neighbor was out, he was working on his car, but he didn't think anything of it until he heard the pop. And then, you know, where it was 5, 2, and then about 15 seconds, and then 3 pops after that. And, you know, we don't know who lives around the corner, if it was somebody new, I mean, how would we know? But it was one house in particular that was targeted, so.
So now you
It was
know.
scary, yeah.
Well, now you know, so you know to look out. Okay, unfortunately, you found out that way, but now you know to look out. Because I can tell you right now, I have a Colonia gang member that lives across the street and 2 houses over from me. In Junction, sir, Colonia gang member. I know when he's there. I know what cars belong there. And believe me, I don't leave the house, and this is me as a police officer, I don't leave the house without my little friend. Okay? Because I know the potential. I know what he's been arrested for. Okay? And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to tell you you need to be aware. Okay? You need to be very aware of your surroundings.
Then to walk the night and do that real quick.
Good.
So I have a neighborhood that actually they patrol at night. They patrol at night in their cars. So it's not something that you have to do on foot. If you don't want to be on foot, you don't have to be on foot. Or some of them go out in groups. So they have like walking groups, or they'll do that type of thing where they're not alone. So we're not telling you exactly how you have to do these things, and there's options. So make it work for what you feel safe, make it work for you and your community. So we're just giving you ideas, but obviously your safety is number one. So do what you guys feel comfortable with. But when we talk about foot beat, it's not just because you're literally walking, it's just you patrolling and walking, being aware of your surroundings. So that's all.
Good. I'm sorry, one more thing. And just like she said, we're not in charge of you. We're in charge of your training, but we're not in charge of you. Each neighborhood is going to decide how they do what they do. All right? We're only here as a resource. So she had a question for you.
Well, actually, years ago, in our neighborhood, we did have patrols where we'd go out in pairs and drive around. And,
Go ahead.
and not much happened, but at least we were there.
Mhm.
We went through the alleys and.
Caveat to that, caveat to that, people might call in on you. Just so you know. So if we stop you, I'm gonna tell you right now, if we stop you, just do your best to, just pull over as safely and as quickly as possible. We're gonna ask you questions, just let them know right after that, I'm with Neighborhood Watch, I was doing my patrol, and that's what we're doing. They ask for your name and, your driver's license and your insurance. Just go ahead and give it to them, and as long as you weren't doing anything wrong, nobody's gonna do anything to you, okay? But, if we do stop you, it's probably because somebody called on you. And that's not bad, because people saw you. People saw you. Okay, go ahead.
Sometimes, Crystal, just the fact that if you're identified as a neighborhood watch, your presence alone is enough to make people move on to another neighborhood, whether it's graffiti, crime, burglary, whatever. If they know and they see people out there, and I know that Mr. Booth over in Fremont, he wears some sort of shirt that identifies him as a neighborhood person. If the neighborhood watch people have the same type of situation, people are going to see that and they're just going to move on because they're not going to want to have to deal with that.
Exactly.
Just the presence of knowing that there's potential for them to get caught, they're going to move elsewhere.
Exactly. And on the heels of that, before the presentation started, someone was talking about the Neighborhood Watch sign. Just so you know, we don't have the funding to provide you with Neighborhood Watch signs. You can purchase them, and what we can do is we can contact the city to have them put up on existing poles that you have in your neighborhood, but we don't provide that, or jackets or hats. Although, we do have a Neighborhood Watch that did partner up with a business in their area that sponsored them. And now they have jackets and hats. Idea. So if you know anything. So, okay, here we go. We're gonna move on here. All right, I have to tell you, if you see something, say something, what that's about. Okay? The neighbors of the two San Bernardino shooters said that they noticed suspicious activity going on, but they did not call because they were afraid people would accuse them of profiling, racially profiling. I don't care what race they are, what nationality, what age, what gender, what religion, I could care less what they are. If you guys report to us that you see suspicious activity going on and it stops a terrorist attack where 14 people died, okay? They can accuse you of that all day long because you know what? For whatever reason, the country is very racially charged right now. And I can tell you that if you're doing by your heart what you feel is best, let them say what they want. Because if you save lives, that's what counts. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you, you need to report anything suspicious. Because if they're buying a whole bunch of cell phones, if they have like a whole bunch of people coming over and you hear them, I hate to say it, but that Allah Akbar, okay? That's a big clue. We need to know that type of stuff. But it's not just them, we also have homegrown terrorists as well. So if you see that particular type of activity, if it's nothing, it's nothing. But if it's something, and you guys help us avert a big crisis, good job on you, okay? And if it's nothing, hey, you know what, we went to a call, we got more experience. That's all. I'm gonna move on, because I know that got real heavy right there, and I don't want you guys to, think that this is all about, a Jerusalem, but this is about you guys being safe and taking back your neighborhood. This is you being in charge and making your neighborhood the best place that they can be, and the city. All right, any type of activity or circumstance that seems frightening or unusual within your normal routines. Again, hairs in the back of your neck or standing up because something's just not right. You can't put your finger on something that's just not right, situation that's happening. Call the police department, we'll check it out. Strange odors, smoke, fire, explosions. I don't have to tell you that definitely you're gonna have to call, because guess what? Once one house goes up, doesn't mean another house can't go up, especially if we have the onshore and offshore breezes going on in Santa Ana. They could spread, okay? Unfortunately, there was an incident that happened at one of the trailer parks down south, and the house went up. But the thing is that we were afraid that the other one would go up because they're so close together. So if something is happening like that, you smell that, you need to call. You definitely call and get somebody out there. Abandoned vehicles, we all know about that. People are using that stuff all the time. And by virtue of, was it a call by one of our officers, or was it a call by a citizen for that 7-year-old girl in the car with her dad?
They were patrolling.
Okay, one of our officers just happened to be going around, happened to find a car with a 7-year-old girl in the back seat. Her dad passed out in the front with all kinds of narcotics and stuff. And he didn't have just a little bit of narcotics, he had a ton of narcotics. Okay? That's stuff that you guys will probably see before we do. You need to call that kind of stuff in. Again, if it's nothing, it's nothing, but if it's something, you save a life. So I'm going to tell you about priority call, or call priorities real quick before we go into reporting crime. If somebody, and you'll see it up there, if somebody is getting hurt, somebody could be hurt, there's weapons involved, serious traffic accident, that's going to be one of our highest calls. The only one that I could see that doesn't have a call type that's a higher priority is maybe an officer-involved shooting and an officer-involved fight. Because we have to take care of our own. Because why? Because we know that the next time that we're in trouble, we want somebody to help us out. Okay? So we need to make sure that that gets taken care of. Priority 1 plus, like I said, somebody's getting hurt, somebody is hurt, weapons. Priority 1, emergency backup units. And yes, you see up there that, you know, backup units, when it comes to one of us getting in trouble, we're in a fight for our lives, that bumps it up a little bit more. Okay, it's not going to be just that one right there. It's going to bump it up for us a lot. Priority 911 hang-ups. We have to go out to the 911 hang-ups no matter what, because what if the person can't talk? You know, we got to go. So that's why we do that type of thing. And priority 3, those are like music calls, abandoned vehicles, what is it, parking stuff. Those are the things that we do kind of last. Now, when you guys call, if we don't go out right away, it's not because your call's not important. It's not because we don't care, and it's not that we never went out. Sometimes it takes us longer to go out. Why? Because of the priorities. So if your call is a priority 2, but we get a priority 1 plus, or we get an officer-involved shooting, or we get, you know, somebody in a fight, one of our officers in a fight, we're probably going to go to that first. Okay? We have to go to the higher priorities first and take care of those. And so if you guys call me on a Friday night and it's music, okay, that's probably going to pen for a little bit. All right? It's not that we're not going to go out. It's not that it's not important. It's not that we don't care. It's that we have to do the higher priorities first, which would be like a DUI driver, which would be like an accident, which would be like, you know, if there was a shooting. Okay? So again, we will go out. We don't erase calls. Because that's a big misconception. A lot of people say, oh, you guys erased calls and you never came out. No. We just came out when probably you guys had already gone to sleep. Okay, or it's been so long that you guys missed us because, you know, you guys had left for the day or something. So 911 or the regular number. Again, we already talked about that. Somebody getting hurt, somebody's going to be hurt, serious traffic accident, weapons involved. That's definitely 911. Medical emergencies, okay, 911. All the other stuff, the abandoned vehicles, the music calls, the, hey, you know what, my ex-husband didn't come pick up the kid, you know, even though the court of order says he's supposed to. Those types of things, okay, that's going to be the regular number. So when you do have a 911 call, we want you to be calm. Stay calm, because if you guys are really agitated, we can't understand you. And I'm going to tell you right now, police officers get really, really, you know, excited too. And when they're on the radio and they're excited, we can't understand what they're saying. Okay, so that's why we try to train to make sure our voices stay even and we stay as calm as possible. So take a deep breath before you say anything. Okay, usually kind of gets you back on track. Okay, because a lot of good it's going to do, you know, and by no fault of yours, but a lot of good it's going to be if we have to ask you to repeat a whole bunch of times, because that's time wasted, time lost. All right, we need to what, when, where, and who. Okay, and I know you remember that from school. Who, what, when, where, why is kind of the same thing, but in a different order. All right, we need to know what's going on. We need to know when, because we need to know if it's in progress. If it happened, you know, 2 days ago, okay, we're not going to send a unit out there with lights and siren. But if it's happening right this second, that's probably what's going to happen. We send them lights and siren. And as you're getting that information, it's being dispatched. So don't think that we have to finish the whole call before we send somebody. Okay, somebody is sent simultaneously, especially if it's one of those higher priority calls. Okay. So suspect identification. In these red folders that we're giving you, your block captains have it, and there's a inside of the manual is this particular picture. And what it does is you can fill out all of those boxes before you call into the police department. So we're not having to ask you those questions to get it out of you. You can just say it right from the beginning. Okay? And we usually start descriptions from the top down. Okay? But that's after you tell us what's going on. Okay? So as you can see, all the different things that we're gonna ask you. And if you don't know, you don't know. Okay, that doesn't mean that you were, being lax in your judgment and it's because sometimes in those cases of trauma, okay, and excitement, sometimes you don't see those things. And it's the weirdest thing, like, I'm like, he was right in front of you and you didn't see what color his eyes were? No. Well, because it's a moment of shock, all right? So sometimes you might get that. You might get it a little bit more later, but at the time of the call, write down everything that you possibly can and give that to us. And I can tell you, it helps a lot when we're able to get that information out right away. And then I will say this, back to the race thing, or tell us what the person looks like, not what you would know them to be, because I'll give you a good example. My kids, they're half white, half Hispanic, okay? But they look white. So if you tell me, oh, it's a Hispanic kid, I'm gonna look for somebody who looks predominantly Hispanic, okay? But if they look white, you need to say that they look white, okay? And only for description purposes, not because you're racially profiling or anything, but when you look at somebody, what do they look like to you? Because that's probably what they're gonna look like to the officer as well. Fair enough? Okay. Vehicle identification. Now, guys are going to be really good at this because guys know cars. Girls don't usually know cars, okay? And I'm saying that out of personal experience. You ask me about babies, I can tell you, okay? But cars, it's a van, okay? So this is going to help you out. The way we report things is color, year, make, model, body style, license plate number, and we use the acronym SYMBOL, okay? So SYMBOL, remember that. Color, year, make, model. If you don't know it all, that's fine. As close as possible as you can. But in some of the little suspicious activity reports we actually put all the vehicles there. We put the body styles there to help you out. Because again, the better description we get, the easier it is for us to make that call and get somebody out there. And again, the more description that we have, the better we can pinpoint somebody. Because I can tell you right now, okay, we're looking for somebody that's wearing plaid. How many people in here are wearing plaid? There's a couple, right? Right. So if you say a dark colored plaid, that kind of isn't helping. But if you say a male wearing dark colored plaid, we got two with glasses and light colored hair. But if you said it's a green and like a gray colored plaid, then we can kind of figure it out, right? Actually, you guys really do have the same facial hair, and see? So you can understand how it would be hard for us sometimes if we don't have a full description. I don't mean to like point you guys out, but it was like perfect, right? It was a good example. All right, phonetic alphabet and license plate. Okay, if you've been in the military, just use the phonetic alphabet you know. If you haven't been in the military and you can't memorize this, as long as you use a word that has that letter in the beginning, so A for apple, okay? Because not everybody can recall those things on the fly. And I'll tell you right now, it takes 500 repetitions for muscle memory to kick in. So, when I'm at the range having to be able to draw my weapon, and I only bring that up because it's a good example of muscle memory. For me to remember to do that and to do it the right way, I had to at least do it 500 times, because if not, you're like, fumbling with and you don't need to do that with a gun, right? Well, the thing is that when you guys are trying to remember something, especially under stress, it's not going to come to you. You're going to be like, and that's what we don't want, because we want to get that call dispatched as quickly as possible. So if you can remember A for apple, B for boy, that's fine. That's fine. And California license plate, that's a vintage plate. Usually, for California license plate, if you look at the top right corner, that's usually what there are: a number, 3 letters, and 3 numbers. Okay. So just give it to us like that. What we usually do: 1 Adam, boy Charles, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can do that, and I haven't been on the street for a few years because it's the muscle memory. But you guys can do, Apple and Boy Charles, because those are probably some things that you guys will remember, okay? And it doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be exact, just be understandable. So, most of you are on next door, so I don't have to tell you about this, okay? I really don't have to tell you about this, but I'm going to remind you. It's free, and you guys can talk to each other, and Big Brother's not watching. The only time that we will see what's going on is if you guys are like messaging and replying to something that the officers have posted up there. Otherwise, you guys can just say all kinds of stuff about, oh, did you see how she was dressed? You can do whatever you want. Now, if you do threaten and stuff, of course, you're gonna probably get reported to us, so, keep it clean, and if you have a problem with one of your neighbors, it's probably better not to voice it on that platform. So if you look, 52 active neighborhoods and 6,000 Oxnard residents. We have 200,000 in the city of Oxnard. We need to get that number up. Okay, we need to get that number up. We need to get everybody on there because it's the best way for us to give everybody information. I know some people don't have the internet, but as many people as we can get on there as possible is best because the more information we get out to people, word of mouth. Did you have a question, sir?
Can't that be used in other ways too, though?
Like?
Bangers using it?
They usually use Facebook and
Yeah, but if
Instagram.
they wanna know what you guys are doing and stuff.
What we're doing.
They have access to everything that's going on.
You'll find that most gangbangers don't own homes, so that's gonna preclude a lot of that.
You'll find that most gangbangers are all running around texting though.
They
and
certainly
they
are.
got everything on there. I got kids in junior high that got that on there already.
And we have kids that have scanners on their phones too.
Right.
It's
I
not,
mean, it's just kinda,
we haven't seen any crime specific to netcore.com or targeted. Can that happen at some point? Certainly can. So that's why she's saying use caution, what you
Yeah.
post.
okay,
You know,
I just,
I agree with you, but typically it's locked and engineered in a way that it encourages homeowners to be involved.
right.
So that it includes a lot of younger kids from therefore, now if their parents let them log in, use their address, there are workarounds around that, of course, but it's not something we're seeing for the most
I
part.
mean, I
They're
don't-
more interested in scamming.
Yeah, okay.
And usually it's not fun for them because there's not girls posting a picture.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's just weird that, I actually, I worked for the Swifters and I saw the emblem. And I'm like, looking over and I was like, okay.
It's possible.
Maybe their parents were part of the neighborhood watch, I don't know.
Well, the thing is that it's not exclusive to Neighborhood Watch.
Or not, yeah.
Anybody can use it, and to be honest with you, if the gang members wanted to know what we're doing, it's very easy. We try to be as transparent as possible. The thing is that they're not gonna take the effort.
Okay.
They usually don't. So, question?
Officer Walker, there are not 52 active neighborhoods in Oxnard. That is wrong.
Well, it could be HOAs, and it could
Okay,
be
all
like
right.
also
That's what I was
businesses.
wondering, the word neighborhood. I didn't know you meant that also.
We kind of consider like, even if it's a little patch of businesses, we'll
Okay.
consider it like a neighborhood.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Oh, and by the way, you can call me Crystal. It doesn't have to be Officer Walker. Detective Walker, Detective Crystal, Officer Crystal, but Crystal is just fine.
Okay.
It's easier that way. Okay, here we go. So you guys seen at the beginning of it, you put your address in there, it tells you what neighborhood you belong to, and then you can sign up. I think you have to ask permission from the person that's in charge of that particular neighborhood, right? And then they approve you.
I was invited by somebody in my car.
There you go,
Yeah.
there you go.
I wasn't invited and
You
I
have to
joined
be
in.
invited.
Yeah.
Or you might have to be invited.
Oh,
No, you don't have to be invited.
But you can invite others.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't joined mine, that's the only reason I don't know that much about it, and the reason that I don't is because, well, I don't want people to know where I live.
All right.
And that's unfortunate, but I get the stats anyway, So, okay, you guys have seen this already, they'll tell you, hey, this is your neighborhood, and then you go ahead and you sign up right there. So, like our page, if you haven't liked our page, like our page, like our page, like our page. We've got over 15,000 people on there, actually 15,115, and that was, I took that off of the internet, I want to say it was Tuesday, so we probably have a few more. But we also push information out that way. But we also have like the good, feel-good stories, like the one where the dog, the dog was returned to the owners after, where were they? Where was the dog?
Or along the 101.
Yeah, and it was really cool because you see the dog and the owner and tears. So we put the, it's not like a gloom. There's good stuff on there, and then, some of our officers have done a really great job. Like there was an elderly lady, her mailbox was broken and mail couldn't be delivered. So they went out and they installed a mailbox. And those are the kinds of things that, you want to see.
Is that just OPD?
Yes, this is just Oxnard PD, and you can go and you can look up all the other police departments and stuff. They pretty much all have their own web pages and Facebook pages. So we're gonna talk about weapons real quick. And again, even though, like I said, no, if you choose this option, I'm just gonna let you know right here, we're not advocating a stand and fight stance. We're not telling you to go out there and you start, beating people up Jackie Chan style. Okay, that's not what we're saying, okay? We don't want you to do that. We want you to call and let us deal with it. We don't condone the use of violence, and guess what? You have the right to protect your family, yourself, and your property. But if it's just property, let it go. It's replaceable, okay? Your life is not worth what that laptop is worth, okay? And I keep saying laptop, I should say iPad, but it's still, either way, your life is not worth that. Just give it up, and if you got insurance, go ahead and let the unit pay for another one. This is only a resource, and remember, if you don't practice, like I said, muscle memory with whatever you choose, and I hope you don't, but if you do, if you don't practice enough, it can be taken away from you and used against you. Or it can use itself against you, and I'll tell you why. Castle doctrine, basically inside your own home you can use force, but within limits. So if somebody breaks into your house and they're threatening your family, and you happen to hit them with a baseball bat and they're knocked out cold, okay, you should be good. But if you keep hitting them after you did that, okay, you're going too far, all right? And I know, see, and I know with your daughter's boyfriend, you really don't like it, but still, you can't do that, okay? Because guess what? You're criminally and civilly liable, okay? And if in this day and age you can get sued because Red Bull didn't give you wings when you drank it, okay? You can be sued for anything, okay? Whether they win or not, it doesn't matter. You still have to go through the heartache. So please, within limits, you knock them on the head, tie them up, call the police department, okay? Or you know what? Knock them on the head and just get out and call them somewhere else, okay? Let it be. You guys, we're the ones that should be taking care of that. Batons, police officers, and security guards can with the guard card, okay? One guy goes, oh, an expired guard card? No, that's no. Please don't do that, okay? And again, that can be taken away from you if you do not practice. So please, if you're not going to take the classes, if you're not going to put in the effort, just don't even bother, okay? Tear gas, 2.5 ounces, less than that, so little spray things, less than that. Do you have the big one?
I got small.
You got a small one? If it's that small, you're good to go, okay? But if it's bigger than that, you can get in trouble. And I can tell you right now, always check the way the wind is blowing. There have been cases where somebody has gone out and they sprayed and they got themselves, okay? And what's going to happen? You're going to incapacitate yourself, okay? And if you can't take care of yourself, what good did it do you? All right? It's just like with the alcohol. If you can't defend yourself, then why would you go out? All right? So no alcohol and hopefully no pepper spray. Knives. Double-edged blades, fixed blades, no, okay? Folding blades, I don't want you guys to have that either. You want to know why? Because if you do not practice opening and closing that thing, you guys aren't going to be able to do it, especially under stress. Even if it's got a thumb bolt, even if it has, spring action to it, just don't do it, okay? But I will tell you this, all right? And I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to tell you this. If you have certain things on you, you can use that. Regular things. You got a handful of change, throw it in somebody's face. What are they going to do? And it doesn't matter how hardcore criminal they are. It doesn't matter how ready they are. They're going to do this, right? It gives you that little chance to get away. Women, you got to be purses, all right? I suggest you could use that, all right? And you're familiar with it because you have it with you all the time, yes, ma'am?
On that note, there was a self-defense class for women that was held. Is there going to be another one?
The RAD class? You would have to contact Detective Mike Morostica. Well, he's not detective anymore, I'm sorry. Senior Officer Mike Morostica. He's the one that actually is in charge. He schedules that type of stuff. So if you call the 7600 number and ask for his voicemail, because I don't have his number on me right now, ask him and he can set up those classes. He doesn't have for kids, and there isn't one for men right now, because they do have one for men. But he'll tell you when they have the next one going on. Okay, and I suggest, if you can, if you feel up to it,
It's great.
take the classes. Because it gives you confidence. It really does. Whether or not you use it, it gives you confidence.
Crystal? On that note there, I have kind of a double-sided question.
Okay.
I did teach martial arts and self-defense.
Okay.
And I know that the laws change concurrently all the time on that. When you are a trained martial artist when it comes to defending yourself, whether it be in-house or out-of-house. I've been doing, as I talked to you about in my meeting, neighborhood watch for 3 years. If somebody, let's say in-house, was to attack you, and let's say a home invasion, limitations by law, if you were to have to defend yourself, what's the law say on that?
You are allowed to defend yourself. Okay? Again, it depends on the situation, because if somebody comes in and they start to try to go back out again because they realize somebody's at home, and then you start beating them up, you could probably be liable civilly, and maybe even criminally depending on their injuries, okay? Because they're trying to leave, even though they were committing a crime. Because again, if Red Bull didn't give you wings, you can get sued. So it's a case-by-case basis. I'm gonna tell you right now what I would do. If somebody comes into my house and they threaten me and they threaten my kids, woe be to them if they make it out alive, okay? Because you're not gonna threaten my kids.
Okay, now that's the second part of my question is, now in my home, I carry concealed. I don't have a permit. I plan on applying for one, this will be the second time. Now, I know that as long as you're in your home, that's okay on your property. So, I've taken all levels of carrying a weapon, and my intent is not to use it. That's my full intent. But if I had to use it, you're still within your legal rights to carry it in home on your property according to Second Amendment rights. That's correct, isn't it?
It's separate. Actually, you are. You can carry
there it is.
Okay, there it is.
Oh,
You
didn't
are, by
see it.
Second Amendment, allowed to carry weapons. Okay? Here's the thing. Each state has their own gun laws, and you have to follow them. Here, you cannot carry the weapon outside of your house, whether it's concealed, unconcealed, or unloaded, loaded, okay, unless you have a CCW. And if we catch you with a weapon, we are going to treat you accordingly, whether it's loaded or unloaded, okay? So understand that. Underneath the newspaper on the front seat of your car as you're driving to work is not where it goes, okay? In a locked container in the trunk would be where it goes. Now, hunting and stuff, that has a whole different thing. Do we have any hunters in here? Okay. We'll talk later. But the thing is that when it comes to firearms here in California, we have some of the strictest gun laws. That's why I'm telling you, it's probably best not to do it. If you have one, keep it in your home. You can have it in your place of business, keep it in your place of business. But the thing is that if you keep it in your place of business, guess who else can get it? Anybody else. Okay? So I highly discourage you from having weapons at your place of business. I highly discourage you from carrying a weapon unless you have that CCW. And the thing is if you have that, you've probably already taken classes. But don't take the one class and then be done with it. You have to keep going. You have to keep proficient, because how many times does it take for muscle memory? 500. Yes, sir.
What about if you're carrying a weapon from your house to the range?
Well, that's different. Lock container in the trunk, you're fine, okay? And like I said, under the newspaper is not a good idea.
So I don't have a trunk, I have a Jeep.
All the way to the back as far as you can, okay? And make sure it's in a locked container, especially if you've got a Jeep,
Okay.
okay? All right, here we go. Criminal storage. If you allow a child or somebody with a mental disability, I'm sorry, I'll come back to you in a second, with a mental disability, and they get that gun, guess what? And they hurt somebody, even if they didn't hurt somebody, but if they hurt somebody, guess who's liable? Yeah, and not just criminally, civilly, okay? Remember that. Open carry, again, like I was saying, loaded and unloaded, unconcealed, concealed. There was a loophole in the law that allowed you to have an unconcealed, unloaded weapon. And you can walk around like that. And there's people testing it in other states, like I think Texas, they are allowing open carry. Why they would allow it, I think it was in supermarkets and stuff, I'm not really sure.
Open carry was outlawed in California years ago.
Yeah, but, well, see, no, there was a loophole that, like I said, it allowed you. They've actually closed that loophole just recently, I think it was last year.
January last year.
There you go. So now you cannot have it any way. Now, if you have your CCW and you have it loaded, great, all right? Now, if you do that, officer, I have a weapon on my person, I will not reach for it. I do have a concealed weapons license. Okay? All right, don't reach for it. Don't go anywhere near it, okay? Any type of weapon, actually, okay, that you have on you. Don't even. Okay, somebody had a question? Somebody had a question? Okay, I thought I saw a hand. All right, we're getting to the end. Neighborhood watch integrity. Okay, now you've been trained, and now you're responsible for this information. You can't disavow it. Okay, and we have your name. There you go. What does the neighborhood watch sign mean to the neighborhood? It means you're secure. It means you're going to call the police. It means that you guys are taking back your neighborhoods and you're making sure that it stays that way. All right? This is not licensed, again, to be a vigilante, but it is putting everybody on notice. And what are these? What are signs? What's putting up the alarm sign? What is the no barking dog, or the barking dog sign?
Deterrent.
Deterrent. Okay? So it means you're organized. It means you guys are there for the long haul. It means that you guys have numbers. Whether it's 20 or whether it's 3. You guys have numbers. It's better than none, right? It means you're trained. Again, what I say, you guys are trained. You cannot disavow this knowledge, okay? You know now. You're enlightened. Use it. Use that information. You're committed. The fact that you are here tonight, the fact that I'm here tonight, and I know I said this the other day about me missing a hockey game, I'm missing another one, okay? For you guys, okay? It's not pizza this night. I don't know what dinner's gonna be when I get home. Hopefully there is dinner, but the thing is, you guys are committed because you came here on your time, okay? Whether you're retired, whether you have a job, whether you have kids, whether you have, child care issues, you're here. You're committed, and I applaud you for that, okay? I applaud you because you are here. So now you have additional resources, crimemapping.com. All right, when you go on crimemapping.com and you put in your neighborhood and you put in the time frame, don't let it freak you out when it blows up and a bunch of colors are coming out, okay? What you need to do is you need to expand the map, okay? Because when everything's little, it's going to look like there's a lot. Expand the map, okay? And Megan, what was the thing that you brought up the other day about the certain types of crimes on crime mapping?
Oh, so when you guys are looking at crime mapping, realize that for every case that generates a report number, it's on the map as a quote-unquote crime. So if we make a subject stop and we arrest them for having narcotics or for being under the influence, it will show up on the crime map as a narcotics crime. So just make sure you understand what information you're receiving from that database, just because it reports everything as a crime, but it might not necessarily be a crime. It could be an arrest from something else.
I like the little legend that's there that tells you what.
Right, but sometimes that's a little bit it's deceiving because it'll say narcotics. And then you think that someone was selling or whatnot, and they could have just been arrested for being under the influence. Sorry, did you have a...
I do, it's kind of the question, but I'll put a subject, but I have to ask it now. In the Cabrillo neighborhood, what is our beat number?
11.
11.
And that's me.
Okay, okay. No, nice to meet you.
I was going to ask, are all of the crimes reported on the crime map, all the police reports, do they get onto the crime mapping site?
All of them, no.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because there's like car break-ins and stuff that happens around the neighborhood that's not portrayed in that map.
Right, and so it depends where or how the information or what type of report was taken. Okay, so you might want to think that something happened, but when we actually talk to that victim, it was something else. And then that might change how we report it. If that makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it might just be something different. And then I don't believe it goes through with CopLogic, right? I don't know if it pulls data from CopLogic or
I
not.
think it does. Ours does.
Okay. So, but sometimes there are loopholes. Like I know for, I think about a few weeks, the two systems weren't talking. So the map was completely wrong as to what was actually going on because they weren't talking to each other.
What is CopLogic?
So CopLogic is a database that you can go on. If you go to our website and on the right-hand side it says File Police Report, you can click on that and you can report things from home. So if it's something where there's no suspect information and you only need like an incident number for your insurance, you can use that. It'll generate a number for you and you don't necessarily need a police officer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or you lost your bike, someone stole your bike, you have no idea when, you just noticed, you saw it a month ago and then today you realized it was gone. You can go to CopLogic with no suspect information and nothing violent.
Okay.
And when you go on there, there are specific crimes that you can report on there, and if it's not there, they need to call the number.
That's interesting, thank you.
All right, I already told you about doing a neighborhood assessment. Okay, we got that down. And join National Neighborhood Watch. And there's two different ones. There's National Neighborhood Watch and there's National Neighborhood Watch Institute. An institute you can get the signs from. Okay, so if you guys want to order some signs, and here's some examples of some stuff that we had or that they have available. And then us, we're all resources. Officer Perez, Officer Toby, you Miguel, we're all resources. Because if we don't know the answer, we're going to find out who knows the answer and get that to you. Okay? It's not just you're going to call us and then we're going to say, oh, you know, I don't know the answer, and then we're going to forget about it. No, we're going to help you out. Okay? That's what we're here for. And that's why we're telling you about all this neighborhood watch stuff. Because we want you to call us and we want you to ask us those pertinent questions. And if there's anything tonight that we didn't cover, by all means, call me at my desk. You can call me at my desk, I'll answer you. And then we'll, you know, again, if we don't know the answer, we'll find out. Okay? And I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's it. I hope that you guys learned today. I hope that you guys take it back with you. I hope you form your neighborhood watches. I hope you get everybody into a frenzy of let's do crime prevention and let's go. Yes, Franny. Yes, ma'am.
When we are establishing our neighborhood watch, do we call you to come out, or the officer who will come to our meeting?
When you are ready, give us a call, and depending on what type of training that you want, what your necessity is, we will send the right person out.
Okay.
A lot of times it'll probably be the beat coordinator, but if they're not available, it might be either myself or Miguel, or actually even a beat coordinator from a neighboring neighborhood.
This is very informative, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to walk through.